Most people think they know what a real crisis looks like, but the truth is very different. When the power goes out, when shelves empty, when systems slow down or fail, the things you assume will last disappear first. Not because of panic, not because of chaos, but because everyone reaches for the same resources at the same time. And in every real emergency, there's a pattern. The most useful items don't just run out. They get redirected, collected, or quietly taken long before you even realize what's happening. In this video, we're breaking down the essential supplies that consistently vanish first during major disruptions, so you can protect what matters and stay prepared long before the pressure hits. Number 1. Firearms. When a crisis breaks out, firearms become the first resource people target because they represent immediate control. A firearm isn't just an object. In a collapse, it's the ability to protect what you own, establish boundaries, deter threats, and defend your family. That's why people with no intention of harming anyone suddenly become desperate to take whatever weapons they can find. It's not about aggression, it's about fear. When systems fail, fear drives behavior far more than logic. People prioritize survival, and a weapon feels like a lifeline. Historical collapses show the same pattern. The moment chaos begins, every group from law enforcement to desperate civilians rushes to locate and secure weapons. During major hurricanes, wildfires, riots, and blackouts, law enforcement often temporarily restricts weapon access under emergency authority. Not because they want to punish people, but because they fear panic escalating. Criminal groups hunt firearms because they know they gain power instantly. Ordinary citizens try to take firearms because they feel helpless and exposed. And neighbors you've known for years can turn hostile if they believe you have something that could protect their family while they have nothing at all. This is why the most important principle of firearm protection is never visibility, it's obscurity. You protect firearms by blending in, not by fortifying like you're preparing for battle. In a destabilized environment, drawing attention, any attention, is a weakness. You need decoys that appear obvious and unimpressive, something that satisfies a casual search. The real protective equipment must be decentralized, hidden in places that don't look like storage areas. Inside subfloor voids, behind insulation panels, in sealed containers within ordinary household clutter. The less pattern your storage shows, the safer it is. People searching under pressure don't think creatively. They look for easy targets. If they find something early even, something useless, they often stop searching. Another layer of protection is behavioral. You never discuss preparedness, never show off tools, never post photos online, never decorate cars or clothing with anything that signals ownership of defensive equipment. Most thefts and confiscations begin long before the crisis itself. People remember what they've seen months or years earlier. In a crisis, anyone who looks better equipped becomes a magnet for attention, suspicion, and justified theft. And the most dangerous part? People sincerely believe they are doing the right thing. They rationalize taking from you because they think their children or their elderly parents need it more. In collapse psychology, morality shifts and scarcity breaks the social contract. Protecting firearms isn't about resisting anyone. It's about ensuring nobody sees anything worth taking. If they don't suspect you have extra, they won't push harder. If your home looks as desperate as theirs, you stay off the target list. The goal is simple: live through the chaos, not dominate it. People who try to look strong attract conflict. People who look ordinary survive longer. Number 2, medications. Medical supplies become priceless because when healthcare systems collapse, even minor health issues escalate into life-threatening problems. A simple infection becomes dangerous. A fever without treatment turns into a crisis. Pain that was manageable yesterday becomes unbearable. That's why medication scarcity triggers panic quickly. Pharmacies get emptied within hours, not by criminals, but by regular citizens grabbing anything they think might help. People don't just buy what they need. They buy everything they fear they won't be able to find later. And when prescription medications become unavailable, families start searching houses, clinics, abandoned buildings, and eventually each other. Chronic conditions like diabetes, asthma, heart disease, or anxiety become urgent survival concerns. People with children or elderly parents feel overwhelming pressure to secure whatever they can. That emotional desperation is what makes medical supplies one of the first categories to be stolen or confiscated. In many crises, even hospitals struggle to maintain inventory. Staff begin quietly reserving medications for their own families. It's not malice, it's instinct. You can't rely on normal supply chains, and you can't expect fairness when systems break. The way to protect your medical supplies isn't by locking them in one place. It's by splitting them across multiple microstashes, a stash in your vehicle for emergencies, a small bag in your daily backpack, a small group of items hidden inside containers that look unrelated, like inside a toolbox, a sewing box, or a storage bin labeled with something boring. Your main supply should be somewhere nobody will casually look, such as within sealed containers hidden inside furniture, inside hollowed-out objects, within unused luggage, or in boxes labeled with something uninteresting and heavy like old books or winter clothes. Humans search quickly, not thoroughly. If a hidden space seems like it contains something dull, they skip it. Another overlooked tactic is rotating accumulation. Building a stash slowly draws less attention and avoids patterns. Buying large quantities at once not only looks suspicious, but also triggers interest from others. People watch what others buy, especially during shortages. You keep your security by keeping your actions unremarkable. Another layer of protection is privacy. Never discuss medical preparedness with neighbors, co-workers, or friends. Once a single person knows you have essential medications, they will remember during a crisis. Desperation overrides relationships. And once someone asks you for help, and you refuse because you must protect your own family, they may turn hostile. The most valuable part of medical preparedness is invisibility. You want people to assume you are in the same struggle they are, not better prepared. If they don't think you have anything special, they have no reason to pressure you. And if someone desperate searches your home, finding a predictable medicine cabinet with normal items is enough for them to stop looking. The real supplies stay safe because they were never where anyone expected them to be. Number 3, food. Food becomes a target after the initial shock stage of a crisis fades and the hunger stage begins. At first, people tell themselves the situation will resolve in a day or two. They open their pantry, use canned goods, dry pasta, leftovers. But once the second or third day arrives and supply chains still haven't returned, panic sets in. People realize they're running out faster than they expected. Grocery stores empty within hours, and what remains becomes chaotic battlegrounds. Lines grow, tempers flare, and people start grabbing things not because they need them, but because they fear losing them. Once stores are empty, people begin scanning their surroundings. They look at neighbors' homes. They notice who still cooks hot meals. They notice whose house smells like food. They notice who seems calm while everyone else feels fear. Anyone who appears too prepared becomes a target. Not because others are evil, but because hunger removes patience, logic, and restraint. Hunger is one of the strongest psychological pressures humans experience. It turns rational people into risk takers. That's why the only safe strategy is hiding your food in creative, invisible ways. A normal-looking pantry should be the only thing anyone ever sees. The real storage must be distributed. Behind heavy items, inside sealed containers no one would check, under beds, behind couch backing, inside attic storage boxes, inside opaque containers labeled with something uninteresting. Small caches work better than one large stash. If someone finds one bucket of rice or a box of canned food, they often assume that's all you had. And they stop searching. People rarely consider that food may be hidden in multiple small areas. But the most important rule, never talk about your food preparedness. Casual conversations from years earlier can resurface during crises. People remember details. That you buy in bulk, that you store extra, that you love stocking up. What seemed harmless at the time becomes dangerous information later. In every major collapse, people who bragged about being prepared were the first to be targeted, not because they were disliked, but because others remembered they had resources. The most dangerous part of food preparedness isn't where you hide food, it's who knows you stored it. Number 4. Water and filtration. Water scarcity triggers panic faster than food shortages. Humans can go weeks without food, but only days without water. When taps run dry, desperation rises instantly. People scramble for bottled water, then for jugs, then for any container that can hold liquid. Within hours, shelves empty. But the true desperation begins when people realize they don't just need water, they need clean water. Dirty water causes illness. Illness without functioning healthcare becomes deadly. That's when water filters become the most valuable items in the entire neighborhood. Anyone who sees you with a water filtration device will want it, ask for it, or try to take it. People who realize you can make dirty water safe will pressure you relentlessly, because water affects survival in hours, not days. The strongest survival strategy is simple. Never show water processing. Never carry large visible water containers in areas others can see. Never let people see you pouring water from a hidden supply. Hide water storage inside opaque containers and sealed plastic bins. Use containers that look like they hold cleaning supplies or tools, not water. Store water in smaller distributed amounts. A few gallons under beds, behind boxes, inside closets, inside cabinets, behind non-water items. A single visible stack of water bottles becomes a target, but hidden water appears non-existent. Filtration systems must be protected even more strongly. A person with a filter becomes an asset and a threat to everyone around them. Hiding filters in toolboxes, behind books, or inside bags helps. But having multiple small filters instead of one big one is key. Redundancy keeps you alive. If someone finds one, they shouldn't find the others. And you must never purify water in plain sight. Once people know you can clean water, they assume you owe them help, even if helping them puts your family at risk. Collapse psychology shows that people quickly shift from asking politely to demanding aggressively. Protecting water supplies means keeping them invisible. Protecting filtration means keeping it secret. Number 5. Fuel and power sources. Fuel becomes chaos within hours. People rush to gas stations, lines stretch for blocks, pumps run dry, and tensions erupt. Generators become loud signals that someone still has resources. Even a single running generator can attract everyone within earshot. Noise travels far in silent neighborhoods. Power sources, solar panels, battery banks, inverters become symbols of who still has the ability to function normally. That provokes resentment, envy, and hostility. It also attracts authorities who prioritize power for critical infrastructure, often temporarily seizing private fuel for emergency use. The safest strategy is misdirection. You keep one old, noisy, low-quality generator that looks barely functional. You run it briefly during the day, only when many people are making noise. This becomes your decoy. Your real generator stays hidden behind sound barriers, insulated with acoustic material, and used sparingly at night when noise carries less. Fuel storage should never be in one place. A single large stash screams, resource-rich target. Instead, keep small amounts in different locations. Inside sheds behind clutter, inside buried containers, inside garages mixed with equipment, inside locked boxes disguised as tool storage. Solar panels should be portable and hidden when not in use. Permanent rooftop panels become advertisements that you still have power. The less people see, the less they suspect. You stay safe by appearing just as powerless as everyone else. The moment someone realizes you have light, heat, or charging capability, they begin rationalizing why they deserve access to it. People rarely react out of malice. They react out of fear of being left behind. Protecting power isn't about defending it. It's about ensuring nobody realizes you have it in the first place. Number 6. Tools. Tools become the backbone of survival once the initial shock of a crisis fades and reality sets in. At first, nobody cares about tools because they're too focused on food, water, and immediate safety. But once the days begin piling up and everyday tasks become harder, Tools shift from nice to have to absolutely essential. You need tools for shelter repair, for fixing leaks, for securing doors, for cutting firewood, for opening containers, for repairing generators, for maintaining bicycles, and for countless tasks you never even noticed before the crisis. That's why communities with tools survive longer. They can fix things instead of losing them. They can maintain structure instead of watching life fall apart. But tools are also one of the most forgotten categories in preparedness because people assume they already have enough. The problem is visibility. Most households keep tools in obvious places: garages, workshops, sheds, and open racks. In a crisis, these become the first locations looters search. Not because they want screwdrivers, they want anything that can create mechanical advantage. A wrench becomes a weapon. A crowbar becomes an entry tool. A saw becomes a barter item. A hammer becomes a priceless repair device. People don't think of tools as survival items until they desperately need them. That means they'll try to take them from anyone who prepared early. To protect tools, you need layers. The first layer is a decoy: cheap, rusty, visibly worn out items that you keep in plain sight. These satisfy curiosity and make people feel like they've already taken the best you had. A burglar or desperate neighbor won't waste time digging deeper if they believe what they see is all there is. The second layer is your working set high-quality items you use regularly. These should be stored indoors, in places not immediately connected to tool storage in the mind of a casual observer. Hallway closets, storage bins labeled as linens, cardboard boxes filled with random non-tool items. These are safe places. People look for patterns. They don't expect a power drill next to winter blankets. The third layer is your survival backup set. These are brand new or lightly used tools wrapped in protective casing, hidden inside sealed containers, or stored in disguised boxes. Paint the containers a dull color. Label them with something boring like old textbooks or holiday decorations, and stack them in an area that looks cluttered or unimportant. The more unappealing the container looks, the safer your tools are. Another strategy is disguising value. Make expensive tools appear old or broken. A generator with a scratched casing and a little dust looks worthless compared to a shiny new one. Wrap chainsaws in dirty cloth. Remove brand labels. Tools with low perceived value rarely get stolen. The final layer is distribution. Never keep all critical tools in the same place. If your shed is raided or your garage door gets forced open, you lose everything instantly. But if your tools are spread between rooms, containers, attic storage, car compartments, and hidden caches, you still retain function. Remember, in a crisis, survival is often determined by who can repair what breaks. The person with tools can rebuild. The person without tools becomes dependent. And dependency invites danger. Number 7. Lighting and batteries. Lighting becomes a psychological lifeline during crises. Darkness changes people's behavior dramatically. When night falls with no electricity, fear increases, anxiety rises, and ordinary tasks become daunting. Even a small flashlight feels priceless. A lantern becomes a luxury. A single room with light becomes a magnet for attention and trouble. Light is visible from long distances. Light exposes you. Light signals that you have resources others don't. That's why lighting and batteries become high-priority targets, both for thieves and desperate neighbors. During extended blackouts, people start scanning buildings at night. Any house with even a faint glow becomes suspicious. How do they have light? Is a question that quickly transforms into, what else do they have that I don't? This is why the key to protecting lighting capability is not looking like you have any at all. You must eliminate visibility. This starts with blackout curtains. Thick, layered curtains can conceal even bright indoor light. If blackout curtains aren't available, blankets, heavy clothing, and double-layered sheets can be pinned over windows. Cover every edge. Light leaks are extremely visible in a dark street. Next, reduce brightness. Use red light flashlights, low lumen settings, and diffused light sources. Red light doesn't travel as far and doesn't trigger the same attention as white light. Never walk around with bright flashlights outdoors, especially early in the crisis. People will follow the beam. They can't help it. Store lighting gear in multiple locations. Batteries must be split into small caches. Kitchen drawer, vehicle bag, garage container, bedroom closet. If one set gets found or stolen, you still have more. And never store big battery packs in one visible place. A single large stash invites theft. Rechargeable solutions are even more valuable, so protect them carefully. Store power banks in cases labeled as electronics cables or household maintenance items. Chargers and solar micropanels should remain hidden until needed. And the biggest rule of all, never give away batteries early in a crisis, not even one pair. People remember when you help them. They remember that you have extra. And when their situation worsens, that memory turns into expectation. And expectation turns into demand. Lighting is safety. Lighting is morale. Lighting is control. Protect your lighting gear like it's worth 10 times what you paid, because in a crisis, it will be. Number 8. Cash and trade goods. During a collapse, official money may lose value, but practical items quickly replace it as the real economy. What people truly want during emergencies is not pieces of paper. It's functional goods. And those functional goods become incredibly valuable extremely fast. You'll see the same pattern everywhere. Small bills become more useful than large ones. Coins suddenly matter. But most importantly, trade goods rise to the top. Items like lighters, soap, toothpaste, deodorant, aspirin, small food packets, instant coffee, disposable razors, band-aids, sewing kits, baby wipes, batteries, and fuel stabilizers become the currency of survival. Trade items are powerful, but they are also incredibly dangerous if others know you have them. A person known to have extra becomes the neighborhood vending machine, and when you stop giving, you become the villain. That's why the key to protecting trade items is subtlety. You never let anyone know you have a surplus. You never become the person who always has something. You want to appear just as limited as everyone else. That means no visible surplus storage, no organized shelves, no openly stored toiletries or bulk items. Trade items must be split into micro-stashes hidden inside clothing storage, behind books, inside non-transparent bins, within garage clutter, or in bags labeled with something unrelated. And if you trade smarter than anyone else around you. Never trade from your home ever. Meeting near your home lets people track your resources and location. Always walk away from your residence before conducting any exchange. Trade with people who don't know where you live. Trade small, never large. Trade items that don't look like part of a larger supply. If someone suspects you have more, the value of your trade goods becomes a threat instead of an asset. And remember, cash still matters in the early days. People trust cash reflexively. They may not trust the system anymore, but they trust the idea of currency. Keep small bills ones and fives, not 20s. Nobody can break large bills in a collapse economy. And always hide cash, the same way you hide trade goods. Cash loses value when the world collapses, but trade items rise in value because they solve real, tangible needs. Items that improve hygiene, bring comfort, relieve pain, or create immediate usefulness will become the foundation of the new economy. If you can protect them, you'll have bargaining power without becoming a target. But once people see you as a supplier, it becomes almost impossible to hide your resources again. Subtlety isn't just protection, it's survival. Number 9. Communications gear. In any crisis, information becomes one of the most valuable and dangerous resources. The people who know what's happening, where it's happening, and how conditions are changing have a massive advantage. That's why communication gear becomes a target the moment chaos begins. Radios, walkie-talkies, satellite messengers, emergency weather radios, long-range communication devices. These give you insight and coordination capability others don't have. Anyone looking to control a building, a neighborhood, or a community wants control of communications first. If they control the flow of information, they control behavior. That's why communication devices get confiscated, stolen, and seized more often than people realize. And, unlike other supplies, communication gear has a unique vulnerability. It can be detected. Signals can be tracked. Antennas can be spotted. Activity can be overheard. That's why your communication strategy must be layered. The first layer is public gear simple, common devices like small walkie-talkies or cheap handheld radios. These should be kept in visible places so that if someone looks around, they assume that's all you have. These devices are disposable from a security perspective. The second layer is real capability. Good radios, long-range receivers, satellite tools, and encrypted devices must be stored in hidden, disassembled, or disguised forms. Remove antennas. Store batteries separately. Break devices into components and scatter them. Someone searching for gear won't assemble scattered pieces in their mind. Next, practice silence. Never broadcast from your home. Always use different locations. Change positions. Short transmissions only. In a crisis, staying unnoticed is safer than staying informed. Another layer of security is knowledge. You must learn how your communication devices work before you need them. Trying to figure out programming or settings while under pressure is almost impossible. Prepping doesn't just mean owning equipment. Prepping means understanding it. Protecting communication gear means protecting the flow of knowledge itself. Someone who can communicate becomes valuable, but being valuable in a crisis is not always safe. You want communication capability, not communication attention. Number 10, knowledge. When everything collapses, knowledge becomes the ultimate survival currency. Food gets consumed, batteries drain, tools break, water runs out, but knowledge continues producing value indefinitely. Manuals, repair guides, medical references, maps, gardening instructions, water purification notes, mechanical diagrams. These become irreplaceable when technology disappears. That's why people steal books during crises. They aren't trying to destroy. You're seeing instinct at work. They know knowledge offers a way out, but knowledge also paints a target onto the person who possesses it. Someone known for medical skills may be forced to treat people under pressure. Someone known to understand mechanics may be demanded to repair things. Someone known to have survival strategies may become someone others want to control. Knowledge makes you valuable, but value can turn into vulnerability very quickly. Protecting knowledge begins long before a crisis by forming an information system that doesn't draw attention. Create digital libraries on encrypted drives and micro SD cards. These can store thousands of pages in something the size of your fingernail. Hide them where nobody looks. Inside battery compartments, under drawer liners, inside sealed bags behind photo frames, or inside hollowed-out household objects. But digital storage can fail, so keep physical copies of essential guides. Protect them inside waterproof bags, inside sealed containers, inside inconspicuous storage boxes. Label these boxes with something uninteresting: old tax papers, decorations, winter clothing. Nobody steals old paperwork. Another critical tactic is limiting who knows what you know. Never advertise your skills. Never talk about your preparedness. Never appear more capable than the people around you. OPSEC isn't just hiding supplies, it's hiding competence. In a true collapse, being underestimated might save your life. Knowledge is the only resource that multiplies without being depleted, but only if you can keep it protected and keep others from realizing you have it.